the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
Of the Accra High Court. And during the cross-examination of Richard Jakpa by Godfrey Dame, the Attorney General, PM said, cabinet document and parliamentary approval for the purchases of 200 ambulances for the government of Ghana then. Not specify how the transaction essay go through. One, essay amonto 200 ambulances via a Stanbic loan. Now, in conform with Brebusa say, na former President John Mahama, obi to say Honorable Dr. Kessel Attoforsen, the minority leader of the National Democratic Congress, FAC prosecution at the Financial and Criminal Division of the Accra High Court on Kebi. And draw and a copy say, Nidin ewo cabinet documents also. Cabinet for no omusia omuka say yankoto ambulances but my father consolidated fund enkoto my father consolidated fund enkoto but yanfa Stanbic loan up to the tune of over 15 million euros, to be precise 15,800,000 euros at 20%, 20.8% per annum via a Stanbic bank loan. Now former President John Mahama Kasa cabinet minister swap. The late former President John Evans Atamils so among former committee ambulance for the Republic of Ghana. And Dr. Kessel Attoforsen ignored the directive of former President John Mahama during cabinet meetings. And until up to date, former President John Mahama on person about the prosecution of Honorable Attoforsen while distancing him totally from the case. Now, Honorable Shariaite, the late, and Honorable Alex Befia, time and now Omonka said they will not do business with Jakpa. No more making reference to document by cabinet former President John Mahama can say, side document they say, mind your business any other way but apart from via the Stanbic loan because Yenisika our consolidated fund budget approval say Minister of Health and Francotos 200 ambulances. It's a thing na mo pese apedi mo use consolidated fund editria for this first 50 tranches of ambulances are Richard Jakpa eka anything na Richard Jakpa ekojina court docket mo court box witness box mo or cassette obi to say Honorable Setekwe or cassette obi to say Honorable Shariaite or cassette obi to say Honorable Alex Segbefia because omuna were relying on the document of former President John Mahama during cabinet document release here the Ministry of Finance so on farm procure sa ambulance the NDC our Sammy Gyamfi so no spokesperson for Honorable Attoforsen as National Communications Officer but former President John Mahama there were distancing home from the case. This report was brought by lawyer Paul Adom Otri during Good Evening Ghana edition in Dram.
Strong opinion against this ambulance process, the way that it was being done by Richard Jakpa. They were NDC members appointed by John Mahama. They took the position of health ministers. Both of them were stuck against this process, the same process that Attorney General today is stuck against. Let's listen to Sammy Gyamfi first and then we'll tell you the details. Have a look at the video.
Well, today was another day of shame for our country. It was another day of national embarrassment because our Attorney General and principal legal advisor to the government came to court to once again display sheer ignorance, embarrassing the nation, making a mockery of himself, and wasting the time of everybody. And I stand here feeling very sad and ashamed as a Ghanaian that this is the level of thinking and knowledge of the Attorney General. Clearly, this is a man who does not understand his own case. And you've seen how Jakpa has schooled him today on his own case. You know, to start with, the Attorney General suggested that Big C could not supply genuine ambulances because they had overpaid themselves. They and Jakpa had overpaid themselves in fees. But Jakpa educated the AG that this is an agreement which went through the Health Committee of Parliament, the Finance Committee of Parliament, the Cabinet, went to the PPA for approval. And in fact, if you look at Exhibit X, which is the legal opinion authored by the Attorney General on this whole matter, the Attorney General was categorical that all the necessary statutory approvals which are conditioned precedents for the agreement had been met. And so clearly, the Attorney General cannot be making that argument.
That was Sammy Gyamfi talking about the ambulance. Now let's see the details. Richard Jakpa claimed that the AG's assertion was not correct because, according to him, the contract had received relevant approvals from Cabinet and Parliament. The Attorney General then asked Jakpa to look at the Cabinet approval and parliamentary approval and indicate where either Cabinet or Parliament approved the contract with Big C. Jakpa's claim was shown to be false, as he could not point to anything in both the Cabinet and parliamentary approvals by which Big C contract was approved. Both the Cabinet and Parliament approvals rather related to the approval of a proposed Stanbic Bank facility which was never used. So the Cabinet of Professor Mills, who started looking at this, which included, of course, the Vice President John Mahama, wanted to insulate the government of Ghana from any potential losses. Good decision. So they decided that these letters of credit should be issued by a private bank. That private bank will do an assessment of the potential of the people to deliver the ambulances. Once the ambulances are delivered to the government of Ghana takes the debt, they will pay. But before the ambulances are delivered, let the government of Ghana share the risk. That's what they say, share the risk. So because they wanted to share the risk, the government of Ghana made a decision that, and in the cabinet, they made a decision that Stanbic will issue the LC. Stanbic will be interviewing everybody concerned with the chain of production of the ambulances to make sure that Stanbic is holding private people's money. It's not going to just dole out the money to you just like that. No, because if they do so, they are going to be in trouble with their shareholders. So Stanbic was going to do all the work, all the checks and balances and everything. And if Stanbic came to the conclusion that yes, we think we can issue this LC on behalf of the government of Ghana, then the government of Ghana will be confident, and then when the ambulances come, they will pay. So the decision was made by the cabinet of Professor Mills and the parliament, that will be the 6th parliament, and the 6th parliament, which was led by Supreme Court Judge Joyce Banfordado. They made a decision that this is the process in which the government of Ghana will procure the ambulances. Ambulances will be procured by an agent. It will be fixed by somebody who fixes ambulances. The person who is fixing the ambulances should rest assured that if government of Ghana does not pay, Stanbic will pay. For government of Ghana, Stanbic are already there who are telling them that they will pay if the government of Ghana doesn't pay. So the person who is going to produce the ambulances is confident and satisfied that I can produce the ambulances. That is the context of an LC. That's what it is. So when Parliament was looking at it, Parliament noticed that Stanbic are cushioning government of Ghana from any potential risk in case the ambulances don't come. So Madam Sharia Iti, who is was the Minister of Health at the time, refused to accede to this request that Stanbic will be taken out of the equation, that the government of Ghana must issue the LC upon itself. That means government of Ghana is going to issue the LC and it will be drawn on the government of Ghana's money. That's what happened. Stanbic of Ghana was taken out. Shaita said to them, and the letter is part of the evidence before the court, that if Stanbic is not in this deal, I do not see how I can go ahead as Minister for Health, because the parliamentary approval that you have brought to me shows that Stanbic Bank will issue the LC. Today, Richard Jakpa was asking court, look at the cabinet approval, look at the parliamentary approval, show me where Big C was supposed to do any work. He was unable to point out. So where did Big C come from? So that at the end of the equation, they have earned 2.1 million or so for their agent in Ghana, Richard Jakpa, to have earned 700,000. Richard Jakpa was unknown to the Mills cabinet that discussed the ambulance and that produced the cabinet approval. Big C was completely unknown to the cabinet of Professor Mills that looked at the ambulance situation. Big C and Richard Jakpa were completely unknown to all the members of the Finance Committee of the 6th Parliament that looked at it, and the plenary of the Parliament, all of whom considered it and approved the contract. Big C and Richard Jakpa was unknown to them. Somehow, come 2013-2014, Big C and Richard Jakpa have become a big part of this whole ambulance contract. And the late Sheriaite said that I do not see how I can proceed with this. Sheriaite's letter is part of the prosecution's document. So, viewers, you see, these details are very, very important for all of us young people growing up as Ghanaians, so that we can understand where to set the standard in future. How does cabinet look at a matter without the name of Paul Adomotri? It's not inside. They produce the matter. It goes to Parliament. They approve it without the name of Paul Adomotri. Then, in the end, a minister is sent a letter that please approve this. Minister says, attach the cabinet and the parliamentary approval. It comes, the minister says, I see a dichotomy between what cabinet approved and this one. Almost like a discrepancy. For that reason, I cannot proceed. Richard Jakpa has the harshest of words for Sheriaite, Setekpe, Alexander Segbefia. Richard Jakpa, he has the harshest of words, because they were telling him that you, Richard Jakpa, and your Big C are complete strangers to this contract approved by cabinet and approved by Parliament. What the Attorney General is seeking to prosecute is that what happened was contrary to what Parliament approved and what cabinet approved, and in the process it had occasioned the government of Ghana 2.3 or 2.1 million euro loss, out of which 700,000 was paid to Richard Jakpa's bank account. That's the story of the ambulance. That's the story. What is the role of Keselato Forsen? He was the minister who facilitated the direction of Richard Jakpa and Big C, contrary to Sheriaite's view, contrary to the views of Alexander Segbefia, the next minister, still in the Mahama administration after Sheriaite. This is the story. Whether the court sees it as blue or the court will see it as red, we don't know. We have to wait for the judge. But these are the facts of the story. And today in court, Richard Jakpa was given the document. Have a look at the parliamentary approval. Have a look at the cabinet approval. Is your name in there? Is Big C's name in there? How did they get in to be able to come in and occasion financial loss to the state? That's the story. Let me see whether I can read something here to you. It says in this first paragraph, the prosecution established in courts through Jakpa and with the aid of documentary evidence that Madame Sheriaite, as Minister for Health under the Mahama administration, had at various times written to Big C instructing them to stop supplying the vehicles because of the contractual issues and the fact that her ministry had no money to establish the LC. Also, Mr. Alex Segbefia, Minister of Health, who succeeded Sheriaite, also wrote 2 letters complaining about the vehicles as not fit for purpose as ambulances after they arrived. In one of the letters written by Alex Segbefia to Big C, he described the vehicles as ordinary vans, which could not be converted into ambulances. Meanwhile, the contract required Big C to supply fresh, functioning ambulances to Ghana, and not ordinary vehicles, which they would later attempt to convert into ambulances. It was again established in court more than 2 years after the vehicles were delivered. In 2014, the NDC government could not convert them into ambulances before they exited office in 2017. The vehicles were left to rot at the Air Force Base because they were unsuitable to be converted into ambulances. Documents produced by the Attorney General for Jakpa to read showed that the vehicles were ordinary vans incapable of being converted into functional ambulances. Further to the above, it was clearly pointed out in court that contrary to Jakpa's claim that Big C was authorized to convert the vans into ambulances, Big C was only licensed by the ISO to convert vehicles into ambulances in April 2015, whereas the contract with Big C was signed in 2012 and the vehicles delivered in 2014. So, Big C, as a company that was capable of converting vehicles to ambulance, obtained their license from the International Standards Organization in Geneva in 2015. This contract was approved in 2012-2013 by the Mills cabinet. This is the story. This is the story. This is the story. Nothing more, nothing less. This is what they are battling out in court. And this is what took a phone recording. This is Justice Kulendi, Afiedun Ketia press conference. Now, viewers, you can see that as we get to the end of the story, you can now understand the verve with which these guys wanted the court's case to die at some point. Sammy Gyamfi has found his voice again because there's been tremendous pressure on him during the Jakpa episode in the box that he was not coming to talk. He was not coming to talk. Today he spoke, and I'm not sure what he's saying because this is a story. Your own minister, I mean, how do you go to court as NDC when one of the letters, one of the strongest points of the prosecution is a letter written by your own minister, Shariaiti? I don't understand the Johnson. I said, are you not the chairman of the party? How do you support a matter in court like that when the prosecution is flagging as one of their most important matters a letter written by two of your ministers, Sherry Aite, Alexander Segbefia, two of the most, I dare say, respected NDC people? Every party has people who are respected and people who may not be respected. That's part of life. These two names, Sherry Aite, Alexander Segbefia, they are two of the most respected people in the NDC. The prosecution in this matter is holding their document as their trump card against Kaysala Tuforsen, who is minority leader, who is a member of the NDC, who was deputy minister in the regime. Richard Jakpa, the third accused, who has been presented by the NDC party chairman as a paragon of virtue, has told the court and has described Setekwe in very derogatory remarks. Setekwe being the Minister of Finance at the time. Richard Jakpa has described him in derogatory remarks that Setekwe was against the deal. Setekwe would be against the deal. The prosecution have always told the court that Setekwe was against the deal. Somehow, Mr. Setekwe found himself in court to say that he was not against the deal and that he was in favor of it. Weeks later, Richard Jakpa comes to the witness box and confirms the assertion of the prosecution that in fact the Minister of Finance was against the deal. Minister of Finance against the deal. Minister of Health number 1 against the deal. Minister of Health number 2 against the deal. All of them important members of the NDC. This is the story of the ambulance matter. This is it. Nothing more, nothing less. How do you go to court and the prosecution is flagging your ministers? Their letter. Is it Godfrey Dami who wrote those letters? Did Godfrey Dami write the letter for Shariaite? Did Godfrey Dami write the letter for Alexander Segbefia? No, he didn't. He's just showing it in court to show you that this is the contradiction that you have to deal with before the High Court. Well. Payment of money to Brixie. What did Jakpa say? Okay, so Richard Jakpa says something here. In the second last paragraph, he consistently claimed that legal advice from Dominic Ayeni in his capacity as Deputy Attorney General under the Mahama administration superseded letters from Alex Segbefia and Shariaite, and that the Deputy AG's advice gave validity to the contract in the manner that it was executed. However, today, he was asked by the AG to read the former Deputy Attorney General's advice, which in Exhibit X in open court, and show where exactly the Attorney General asked either the Ministry of Health or the Ministry of Finance to establish the LCs to pay for the ambulances. Yet again, Jakpa could not point to any part of the letter to support his allegations. We had said earlier that Richard Jakpa was spitting fire in the post-event interview. We'll show that to you on Thursday because we have to put things together. And oh yeah, this story. Samuel Gyamfi, the propaganda secretary of the National Democratic Congress. I was going to forget about it. So you see, we have Samuel Gyamfi here, and we have a silhouette here. I've been looking at the video that is trending, and for which reason he's taking out a writ of defamation against Gabriel Chidako and others. Over the weekend, video broke out on social media with Samuel Gyamfi, and the reason why we are not showing the video, and we took that decision even before we heard about his legal action. Not that it will have been a legal problem to show it, but we decided not to show it on moral grounds. And I'm communicating really to media and journalists and young journalists. And let me explain to you the processes that we went through to make the determination whether we should show this video or not. Public interest, yes, very high. It's trending on social media, but a significant part of the video shows Sammy Gyamfi's wife. Okay, Sammy Gyamfi's wife is not a public person. She's not. Sammy Gyamfi is the public person, and he knows that. He has no problems with that. You can show anything you want about Sammy Gyamfi, but as soon as you see that another person is in the video, I'm thinking, and we took the decision here on our own moral basis, that it's not necessary to show Sammy Gyamfi's wife in a video that is to be discussed politically. So for that reason, we decided we won't show the video. But I'm just suggesting to Sammy Gyamfi why that video is trending. This is what politics brings. If you present a certain front that you are A, but that you are not B, then when people see that you are doing B, it will trend. That's why they call them from the time of Goebbels. And those who don't know Goebbels, you should find out who Goebbels is. From the time of Goebbels, they call them champagne socialists. To Vladimir Putin, from the days of perestroika, they call them champagne socialists, because there's always a dichotomy between who they are and who they say they are. That's what it is. That's why we've been fighting our friends on the left from university days, because when they say they are B, they are actually mean C, and they always say they are C so that they can win political power. Because they look at an environment and they feel that people are going to be envious and people are going to be excited when you say this person has money. So they always project their opponents as people who are lavish spenders. They spend taxpayers' money. They live big lives. And so when you give them power, they will steal your money. We don't live big lives. So if you give us power, we will not steal your money. There is Sammy Gyamfi's question. Sammy Gyamfi, that's the question people are asking. Is that the same Sammy Gyamfi in this video with all this glamour from, they say, we're Miami? All this glamour is Sammy Gyamfi. If it's Gabi Ochidako, they won't be surprised. If it's X person, they won't be surprised. But they say, Sammy Gyamfi is this. Yes, it was him. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the reason why it is trending is because some of these politicians, they proclaim B and they do C. That's the point.